Yo, yo, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Much love to everybody. I'm gonna share this to a couple, to a lot, and then I'm gonna get my brothers in here. What up, what up? Oh, okay, I see y'all already. We go ahead and get y'all in. And get my brothers in here. You know what I mean? Mr. Tim and Mr. Chris. What's up, Mr. Tim?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
What's up, Mr. Tim? What's up, Mr. Christian, man? What's happening,
What's up?
man?
What's up? What's
What's
up?
going on? What's going on? Before we get started, I'm gonna share this to you know what I'm saying, some peoples. Y'all can share as well.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And go ahead and let people know that we on as well. And then we'll go ahead and get started. How y'all doing, by the way?
Good, man. Good. Ready to do this? Excited? This is great.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited, man. Been heard a lot about y'all, you know what I mean? And now it's time to go ahead and get it in, you know what I mean? And first I want to say thank you very much for this opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to do this, to fix my little town.
Of course, man. Thank you. Thank you for sitting down with us.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. I mean, y'all got some good stuff going on, you know what I mean? So it's only fair that, you know, man, I talked with ASAP, you know what I'm saying? And he gave me the business and let me know what was going on. Yep. So I was like, yo, I gotta do the research and I gotta, you know what I'm saying, do this properly. Let me fix my camera because my legs over here is a little too tall.
It's all right. I know.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me get this right over here. That mean sorry to get that in the way. I should have been ready.
I never had the burden of tall legs, man. That's not me.
Yeah, we finna have some fun. I like that. I like that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
I like that kind of attitude. Anyway, how y'all day been going, man?
it's been going really good.
Yeah. There we go. Now, Damo, swammo.
There you go.
All right. So, everyone who's watching now and the people that'll watch later, I am cookz24podcast. Cookz24 is the name, you know what I mean? And us, we're talking with two authors here. And I'm gonna let y'all introduce yourselves, starting with Mr. Tim.
Hi, my name is Tim Davis. I'm a staff writer at Endless Mile Studios, and I wrote the short story "The Surprises Never End" for the Perspectives anthology by ASAP Comics.
Mr. Chris.
Cool. And I am Christian Prosperi, writer in Montana. I wrote Murdering John and the reporting of Alexander A. Williams for the Perspectives anthology as well, under ASAP Comics, and I'm pretty stoked to get this going. So,
yes, sir. Very, very stoked. You know what I mean? Like I said, I wanted to talk with you both at the same time because I definitely want to hear both of your stories or whatever parts of the stories that you feel like telling from the questions I asked. Because I know this hasn't been easy for either one of you. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Chris, you know what I'm saying? When I was looking you up, I seen unsure author. That right there off the top caught my attention. So, what did you mean when you unsure author? What did you mean by that?
So, I had started dabbling into, Twitter and Instagram a long time ago when I finally started getting serious about writing, because I knew I kind of wanted to leave open both venues of like traditional publications versus like self-publications. And to self-publish, it's different now. I mean, you have to be on all these social medias. So I kind of started Instagram begrudgingly at one point as unsure author, because I was unsure. I was like, I know I want to do this. I just don't know what route I want to take. I don't know what I want to do. I have to write a bio, I guess, right? So I kind of put it there, and it's sort of stuck, I guess. The whole idea of unsure author really hasn't changed much. I know that I want to be an author, right? I know that's what I want to do, or like full-time author. Like if I could do that right now, I would. But I think that's kind of my whole persona and the way I go about my process too. I'm kind of unsure when I get into it until I really, really get into it. So I was like, you know what, this is fitting still. I don't need to change it. I'm not an unsure author, but I'm unsure about a lot of things with the process and the whole thing, and the whole journey so far has been quite the ride. So
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Switch over to Mr. Tim. Current writer. When I looked you up, and I also noticed looking at some of your pictures that you're a figure collector. You know what I'm saying? Give me a little inside thing on that.
Okay, so they're gaming scale miniatures. My oldest brother got me into playing a tabletop game when I was in college with some old high school friends, and I discovered I wasn't really good at the game, but I really liked customizing and painting the figures, so I've just kind of kept that going. It's kind of like my cat lady hobby, where it's like, I'm that person who's like, you want to see my pictures of my cats dressed up in these different outfits? But I'm really just kind of humors me about it. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you're in the cats, and Chris, you're in the dogs.
Yep.
Okay. Just leave that there. When we get into the bonus round, we'll get. I like that though. That's dope right there. Okay. Let's see. I'm Mr. Tim, former pizza boy, and when we talked about it, former pizza boy in Hollywood. To get like what that mean? Tell me something.
I worked as a delivery driver for a pizza company in the middle of Hollywood for like 7 years. It was a job I got really comfortable with. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, like, honestly, it's the best job, like food service job I've ever had, and I was there a long time, but I don't regret it. I think it was a great way to spend my 20s and being just kind of figuring myself out, figuring life out, and it's also that thing where as a delivery driver compared to being a cashier, being a driver, like half the responsibilities and twice the pay, and I selfishly really liked that.
Okay.
And they let me have a lot of downtime where I got to read a lot.
To hijack a little bit, delivery service was my favorite of the food industry too, man. From managing to serving, dude, driving was the best for sure.
Okay.
Thing where like I don't necessarily miss the job, but I kind of miss getting to drive around that part of Los Angeles.
Okay, I feel what you're saying. So basically, you had a lot of adventures without even you just had a lot of adventures, pretty much.
Yeah, I got to see I got to discover some really cool parts of the Hollywood Hills, some great views. Every now and then you drive past like an interesting looking bar or a restaurant and be like, oh, I wonder what's that like, and you go to investigate when you're not working. And yeah, it was a really good time.
Okay, cool. All right. Oh, Mr. Chris. So a solution specialist. Now, is that something? Is it more than what it is, or is that just what like? Because I don't know what that is. What is that? Is it something? What is that?
That's some deep research, and I think I must have listed that. I worked for Verizon for a while, right? And that's what they call their salespeople or solution specialists. So I must have forgot to omit that or something from whatever stuff. But
okay.
I was solving people's problems all day. People would come in 60 and up and say, hey, do you know my password? And I'd be like, I don't know your password. I'm sorry. And that was about most of the solutions that I solved.
When I research, I try to find, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you got way down in there too. So honestly though, it wasn't terrible. I'm a big tech guy, right? I love nerdy stuff. I love getting TVs and games, right? And all this new shit. And I was like, Verizon's gonna be sick. I get to sell stuff. And then I realized after working there for a while, I was like, oh yeah, nobody like me, or maybe you guys too, who are into tech, goes to Verizon to buy their stuff. It's all people who want their stuff fixed. And I was like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. I was like, I envisioned me talking to bees all day, right? Like,
that makes sense.
this stuff. But I was like, oh, this isn't actually what the job is. It's no.
that makes sense though. That makes sense. Now something else I saw about you, Mr. Chris. A freelance author. What the freelance part mean?
I had started trying to do freelance stuff a long time ago. I'm still very open to it as well. It just never took off for me, mostly because I just wasn't ever in a financial situation to be able to spend the time not working, right? Because it takes a lot of time to do freelance stuff, and nowadays I feel like you really, really have to have it planned out, or have like that be your very, very supplemental job, unless you're very established and have it down. If you're trying to get into it, my advice is to make sure that you have a stable job, a job that gives you time to do that stuff to get yourself in the door, because it's just not viable anymore. So yeah, I had tried it for a bit, but never really got my footing, and couldn't really find a job that supplemented it very well, you know. So
now let me ask you one question
Sure.
before I say it over to you, Mr. Tim. Mr. Chris, I don't know what freelancing. What is that? Like, what is that? Freelancing.
It can be a multitude of things. So what I was trying to do is write articles for different websites. So like, you know, for example, you can jump on freelance websites and they'll be like, okay, we pay you this much per article or per word. A lot of times it's pretty low, but what you do is you just follow an algorithm and you write like essentially the top articles that you search on Google. So if you were to search how to clean out your, desk chairs, like the wheels in the desk chairs, somebody's written an article for that, and it hits the top of the page of Google, and somebody has to write those articles. That's typically what a lot of freelance is. It can go further past that. It can go to writing gaming articles, you know, for video game websites, or movie reviews, like not cheap reviews, short reviews, you know, like just a page long, like freelance stuff. And then it can go into a lot bigger venues, to the point where it is a career for people, right? You're a freelance worker or writer, but you've established yourself enough to take on these huge projects. It's such a the word freelance really doesn't cover the entirety of what it is, but it's a lot. And I don't know enough about it to really comment much more after that, because I never really got my foot in the door, unfortunately.
Okay, that's cool. Hey, you gave me the best explanation that you could give, and I mean, I understand a little bit now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks to everybody for coming through. Mr. Tim, Bachelor of the Arts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So give me a small little breakdown of what that means, Bachelor of the Arts. What you studying on?
Oh, I got a degree in theater when I was in college, and
Okay.
because it's one of those things where I feel like no one really knows what they want to do with their lives when they're 18. I had done high school theater and done acting and all that, and I was good for, that level, and I was like, you know what, I really like this. I want to continue it as a career and a life. And my parents were very, very cool, so they let me go to college for theater. And, I had a pretty good time doing theater in college, and I came out to LA to do the acting thing, and I kind of just didn't make a very, committed go of it when I was in my 20s. I was a pizza boy, did the occasional audition, took a bunch of improv classes, kind of dabbled around to see what kind of stuck with me. And I was doing a YouTube channel with a couple of friends where we were doing sketches and weird short videos and stuff like that. And I kind of realized that I liked the writing part of that. And then when that fell apart and I was kind of starting grad school, I realized I wanted to be more... I'm kind of giving you my life story and going off on this weird tangent.
But that actually helps me fall into this next question that I want to ask both of y'all.
Okay.
And basically, before we get into the titles of each of your books, the things that y'all went through as of now going, and I'm asking y'all these questions and the little bit of personal info that y'all are giving me about y'all, does any of it help energize in some of the stories that you write, like some of your own personal experiences? And any one of y'all can start.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I said, go ahead. You got it.
Well, and I was telling you kind of before we started the interview that I moved around a lot when I was a kid, so I feel like that gave me a bit of a different perspective on life in some ways. And the story I wrote is about a kid who's growing up in like a weird dystopian future, but he has the ability to see some of the future, and he knows some of his major life events before they've happened. And I feel like he has kind of like a weird outlook on life because he has that knowledge. And so that, on that level, I think I kind of relate to that character, sure. And then, you know, like different people I've known, like I didn't consciously try to write characters who were them, but then like after the fact, looking at the characters or some of the characters that are in the story, I'm like, oh, they kind of remind me of so-and-so or what have you, you know?
Okay. Mr. Cookz?
Yeah, you know, I don't know, I've always really liked horror, and I've always had these existential elements affect me kind of every day, right? And since I love horror, unfortunately, not a lot freaks me out. But when I do get freaked out, it's always like, you know, usually the thoughts of these big, giant, huge scope things, right? Like the scare slasher stuff, you know? And so that's kind of where I was going with my story about like, how does humanity react when we face the unexplained stuff, right? But for me personally, I definitely added a little bit in there because I think a lot of the times I blow up things, you know, with my own anxiety and my own depression, right? Like, and I threw that in there with this character that I wrote for this particular story because it makes sense, you know, like he's a smart guy, you know, in this story, and he's in a situation that he can't describe, and he wants to know if it's maybe his own brain messing with him, and that's kind of like how I've approached a lot of the different writings, you know, and the things that I do. So absolutely, my life and the things that I've done and, you know, been through and all those things definitely affect it. I try to incorporate like little bits here and there in these characters, and then of course try to look for other places and see if I can write anybody else's experiences too in the best of my abilities without crossing too many lines, right? But that's kind of what it's about, right? Maybe it's a little cathartic for me to be able to put those things down on paper. And definitely influences, you know, where I've been in those life experiences and stuff like that for plenty of the characters and the things that I write about, for sure. So
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. And thank y'all very much for that. And I don't want to leave out the people in the chat because they have been asking questions. But one I caught right here, Miss Connie. She wants to know, what do you do when you hit a writer's block?
Oh, man. Gosh, I'm kind of in one right now. I find it really, very, me personally, I have a lot of things that trigger motivation. And I have a lot of things that trigger things in my brain. I have songs, right? I have showers. I have long drives that will just give me inspiration and motivation. Now, that doesn't really help with writer's block because writer's block is not writing words down. I mean, I'm thinking about these stories every single day, pretty much almost constantly. I think most writers are. Most creators are thinking about what they can create constantly. Writer's block is the physical act of not being able to do it, right? So one thing that I think I really find it easy is I try to be as proud as I can of myself to get whatever I can down every time I do it, even if it's not every day. But when I'm facing writer's block like I am right now, you know, I wrote yesterday, I got, you know, 500 words down, and that was it. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to have a beer. That's awesome. I did that. That's great. You have to constantly positively reinforce yourself with writer's block because if you're trudging through it, and if it's constantly negative, it's only going to get that much harder to get out, you know? So celebrate when you do it. Try to do it as much as you can. If you don't kill yourself over it, right? But even the little bits you get, celebrate those victories. So,
Mr. Tim, you want to add in?
Yeah, for me, I think of it as being stuck. And sometimes if you hit a point where you don't know what comes next, or you're not sure what the next thing is, then sometimes what I like to do is skip over to a part of the story where I do know what the next thing is, and that's like an easier thing because then you're productive and you won't interrupt your flow. Other times it's just, I try to be zen about it and just, let it sit, like write the best version I can think of as a placeholder or something like that. And then maybe wait a day and try to come back to it with fresh eyes. That usually helps with,
That's laughing at Mr. At Brian right here. Beers and road trips. That's
That's
Rain.
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 That's
Okay.
my girlfriend. That's my girlfriend.
Oh, Rain. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Because she knows we always drink beers and road trips, and she has a hard time snapping me in to like focus because I'm usually like I start thinking about all my shit, and my stories in my head. So
My apology. I'm sorry. Okay,
No.
I got you. Okay.
Everybody calls her Ryan. I go pick up food. I go pick up to-go orders under her name. They're like, Ryan? And I'm like, no, but it's okay. I'll be Ryan tonight.
Hey, okay. Now, let's get into the titles of your stories. Since Mr. Christian, we already on you. Murmuring John and the recording of Alexandra A. Williams. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes. Mr. Tim, you have The Surprises Never End. Okay. So, Mr. Chris, let me ask you this. And then, Mr. Tim, I want you to follow right behind when he finished. Mr. Chris and Mr. Tim, where did you get the idea for the titles for these stories?
So I kind of started. I had this idea, right, of where the story would go and how it was going to play out, and the two people I wanted to focus on. One of them, obviously, but I kind of had this idea to make, I don't know, to give not a ton away for the titles, but have these kind of long-winded, kind of almost grandiose titles. I feel like that pulls people into what I'm trying to do with it, right? Like I'm trying to give that mystery for it, and that whole like, what is that? Like, why is it, what is this? What is this so long? And this is going to be kind of the theme. I'm trying to write a collection with similar to the story that got published here. I want to do a whole collection, and they're all going to have titles like that, like so and so and so, and this, and this. I don't know. It just feels like it hits the themes with it. I wanted like the way I wrote the stories and the kind of the voice I'm trying to provide. These like sort of slow burn, long-winded stories ish, right? So. Mm-hmm. I think it fits with my story a little better than having something a little snappy. Kind of prepares the reader for what they're getting into with it, I think. So.
Okay. And Mr. Tim?
Oh, and also I just want to say Christian's story like validates my decision not to want to be an astronaut like I was when I was.
Oh, okay.
Freaks me out. Thank you.
But today's title is The Surprises Never End, as we've said. It was just kind of like, to be honest, I don't remember where I got the title. And I'm also not very good at naming my own stories at this point in my life. And I think it's a decent title for what it is. And it is just that idea that even with a character who can see parts of the future, there are still things that are going to take you unawares. And it's also, the story, like the character in the story goes through a lot of crap. And the idea is that the surprises are always things that hurt. So it's also kind of this weird promise I was making to the audience when I really think about it, that, his torment is never going to end.
No, it's good. It fits so good though, man, reading your story. Like, because you reiterate it more than a few times, right? And so it's like, I think it was a great choice for the title, man.
Oh,
now another question I can ask both of you. Were there any type of inspirations that helped you write these stories that you guys wrote?
Like things that like What do you mean by inspiration? Just like things that like I wanted to put in the story, or like other ideas that I was kind of going for, or something like that.
You could say that, or anything that might have happened in the last year or so that just set a fire inside you. It's like I'm going to finish this. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna change this part, make it better, or something. You know what I'm saying? Right before the finished product came out. You know what I mean?
Uh, you know, the early version of this story was pretty different than what the final product wound up being. And a lot of it was I added a character who was kind of a mentor to the lead character. And I kind of approached that character as what if he was kind of a wizard, but he was also secretly Mark Twain, where he was very and that was really fun. And that character, I think, was kind of the inspiration that made the story like something special in my mind, at least. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's cool.
Miss Chris, what about you, man?
Well, a lot of inspirations, I think. I think the biggest one is like I just want to write something that I would read. At the time I was reading a lot of Lovecraft, which obviously that guy sucks, but like his his vision and the way what he did with horror, is kind of unrivaled. At least the type of horror that I like to read. Like I said, that existential horror, the stuff that makes you really just kind of want to question reality, and even the most grounded people, whenever they come across whatever horrors are written in these stories, right, or a break sort of thing, right? That's the kind of stuff I like to read. So, and I love sci-fi. Most of my work is in sci-fi and horror, and so I'm like, you know what? Let me just mash these two things together, the two things that I love, and see what happens. And I was working at a restaurant, just slaving away. And after my shift, having beers, I started writing this story on my phone because it's like, I need something and I want to read this. And I don't know, just turned into what it did. Now it's getting, this huge thing.
Okay.
Well past the story that's just published, got a lot more going on with this thing. And I'm like, all right, this is something that I would like to read. That's mostly my inspiration too, I guess. So.
Okay. All right. Now, shout out to Hood Rat Comics. You know what I'm saying? I see you. You know what I'm saying? He's a big comic collector in your town, Tim, I believe. Oh. Yes, sir.
Oh.
I would like to, at this time, before we get any deeper, I would like to talk about perspectives for a second. You know what I'm saying? Fill me in. Let me know as well as the people watching now and the ones that'll watch later. Let them know of what perspectives is and just what it's about, like, because it's all 100% A+ good stuff from what I've heard. We'll start with you, Mr. Tim, I guess, and Mr. Chris, will you finish off?
Sure.
So, Perspectives is the launch of the Anyone comics line by ASAP Comics UK that our friend Paul Hayden does, which, great guy, lovely dude. Haven't met him in person, but a lot of very nice FaceTime interactions. So this is a anthology that was the launch of the Anyone World, as well as celebrating the 1-year anniversary of ASAP Comics UK. And all the proceeds are going to the Dyspraxia UK Foundation, or the Dyspraxia Foundation UK, I should say. And that's a very worthy cause. If you don't know about dyspraxia, it's a neurological disorder, and as I understand it, it kind of affects coordination in kids and how they move about. And it also it gives them some issues with overstimulation and like crowds and stuff like that. I'm probably not giving as good of an explanation of what it is as I can, but there you go. And honestly, I'm very proud to be part of this book for a variety of reasons. I think it's a very worthy cause. I get to be in a book with other great, really good writers like Christian. And it's really cool if you go through and read every story, because each story, I think, is as different and eclectic from each other as they can be, while, and each one is very unique and interesting. So that was a real treat. I think reading the other stories.
Yep.
Mr. Chris.
Yeah, he covered a ton of it already. Perspectives is really cool. Once again, you know, the launch of Any One World, right? We've got ASAP Comics at its year. It just passed its year. Our fearless leader, P.A. Hayden, right, did the foreword, and he talks a lot about how this perspective is really cool because obviously all proceeds are going to charity, the Dyspraxia Foundation that Tim already touched on. But even more than that, if you look at this cover, I have it right here. This cover, done for free, right? Done for free. Cover designer by Kelsey L. Connors. You can find her under that name too. It was also edited by Jess Mondi. You can find her on Twitter as well. All for free. Everybody did this stuff for free because it kind of goes in line with what I think P.A. Hayden, Paul's trying to do with ASAP and with Any One World. Bringing all these people together for a good cause and eventually, just like really ramp up and do everything as one, right?
Yes, sir.
Do all that stuff. But it's very, very cool. Very, very awesome what they did with this. And I'm, just like Tim, very, very proud to be a part of this and to have my first publication be Beast for something freaking cool, man. So now, I can't ask for better.
And Mr. Chris, let me ask you also, like when it comes to the Any One World, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask you to start this off, and Mr. Tim,
sure,
you finish it off. When it comes to the Any One World, how did you come about meeting Any One World? That's a question for both of y'all, but you start, Mr. Chris.
Sure. Okay, so yeah, I've been on Twitter for a bit. Like I said, like I talked about a little bit ago, like I've tried to open social media avenues for my writing career. I knew I needed it. Met a lot of cool people. Those people introduced me to other cool people, essentially. And I saw from that, all those connections, they were like, hey, we're going to make this anthology, sci-fi, horror, fantasy writers. It's going to be all the proceeds go to charity, but, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, cool. I'm going to submit my thing. And I did. And then how I found out about Any One World was obviously after the fact. I got published everything, but then, PA approached me and was like, hey, this is what we got going on. This is what this is. And do you want to jump in? And I'm like, absolutely. Because Any One World to me stands out. It's just such a cool idea, such a cool thing because he's essentially creating his own little like universe, is from what I understand, for all of us creators, right? So like if Tim Davis writes a character and I love it and I'm like, oh sweet, I can approach him and be like, hey man, we should collaborate on this. Like it's all like we get to take each other's characters and each other's worlds and build on them. Like if someone likes my story and was like, I want to write a comic strip, do you want to help me write? I'm like, absolutely, yeah. So we get to kind of pull things from each other if we want to. It's not required or anything, right? All rights are stay with us, but like it's just building a really cool community.
That's really that it's Any One World is sort of the creator owned. You can do your own stuff and pretty much whatever you want to. It sounds like, I believe is what Paul with that. Just give creators a place where they can create, kind of a thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Very cool.
So, all right. And I wanted to touch on that because, like I said, I follow all you guys now. You know what I'm saying? Now that I got to know everybody more and more, and I know that the ASAP minis and that's two different groups, same cause but two different groups. You know what I'm saying? So I had to that was on the poster. So I'm glad I got that all the way right. You finna say something, Mr. Chris? Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, you nailed it. So ASAP Minis is just separate. So the idea is that ASAP Comics UK starts out with these comics. They have a great stuff. Messiah, right? Already points of virtue, points of villainy. They've already done these things. And then what the idea was is ASAP Minis is going to be a kids version for the comic books that they want to come out. And they have Alpheus is brave and brilliant, and it's going to be about a dyspraxic superhero, right? That's going to be for the kids, and so. And that's coming soon, by the way. But yeah, so like what ASAP's doing is, they're essentially branching off into different things. You got the ASAP minis for the kids. You got the ASAP Comics UK for all the comic book lovers. Then you have the Any One World, that's kind of going to be for everybody, right? And this is all these things get to come together. So pretty cool stuff.
Okay. Cool,
yeah.
cool. And thank you too for straightening me out, because I needed it. I had to make sure I needed it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So let me ask both of you this. You both, to me, I know y'all authors. So, whoever start, no matter, the other one come right behind. What is your writing process like?
You want to take? I was gonna say, you want to take that one, Tim?
Is my writing process like? Oh no!
I know. I'm not. Just blank. My brain went blank.
It's all right. It's all right. You know what I mean? It's all right. You know, the reason why I ask, because some people that write, they might want some type of little noise in the background. Some people, when they write, they might want to, want everything quiet. They don't want to hear nothing but the little piece of music, or they want to hear jazz, or, hip hop, or, you know what I mean? So when I say, what's your process like, I guess what I should have asked is, what do you need? What's your perfect situation to finish writing something that you create, or starting something that you create?
So these days, when I'm writing, kind of the environment I like is I like to be in my living room, and I like to put on like a TV show or a movie that I've seen before, so that, because I don't want something new, because then if I'm not paying attention to it, I'll miss something, or it might distract me too much. But, just like watch a show that I've seen a million times, or a movie I've seen a million times that I love, and just the little iPad with my keyboard and try to get the pages out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mr. Chris?
Yeah. So I'm kind of the same way. I have weird triggers, man. Like I'll have like not bad ways. It like something that triggers the motivation, inspiration, or like I have a song that I built this entire scene around. Sometimes I'll listen to that and start writing. But like I can't write and listen. I can't write dialogue and listen to anything. I've got weird quirks, man, and it's really hard for people around me. Sorry for whoever's rang if you're listening. I'm sorry that I have these weird quirks where I have to either put my headphones on or run away and go do it somewhere else. But my process is it just varies, man. This is like as long as I'm getting the words down, it's fine. But like I said, I can't write dialogue, but I have these huge scenes built up in my brain from this song. So I'll like listen to the song and take it out and then turn it off and then start writing. And like, I don't know, man, process is weird because and you just kind of got to run with it. And that's what I've been trying to learn. Like, you can't wait. Like people are like, oh, I wish I could. I get these inspirations in the shower, and I get these inspirations when I'm driving, or like whatever. And sometimes, yeah, you can't write, but anytime you have it, just try to put it down. Like no matter what. That's what I've been trying to learn. Just get it down, like in the moment if you can. That's why I've really started writing on my phone quite a bit. It sucks. It's not great, but like at least I'm getting something down. Because those moments they hit you and then they go away like that.
You're right though. You're super duper right, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. So, you know what I mean, to sum a little piece of it all up in one, what's like, out of all the, the writing that you have done, and the ups and downs, what's like one big thing that you can say that you've learned as far as writing a book, creating a book, publishing it, having it, seeing it being read by your peers? Like, what's one thing that you can say that you have learned that, maybe you can say, well, somebody told me that and it came true. I was like, oh, or, a lesson or something that could be a good piece of advice that could go to the early birds coming up now.
The best piece of advice, because like I personally have some like, I guess, imposter syndrome about where I am, because I feel like I got lucky with contacting Endless Smile Studios, and I was like, hey, can I write for you? And they were like, sure. And I feel like I skipped a lot of steps that a lot of other writers have to go through because I did that. But I would say keep going at it if it's something that makes you happy just by itself. Because all the other stuff I think is kind of a little illusory or kind of, it's a little, like you can't control whether it'll be successful or whether someone reads it or it gets published. But if you just write something that you yourself are happy with in the first place, then to me that's already a win. And if you write enough of those, eventually someone's bound to like one of them, right?
Right, right.
Someone.
Mr. Chris?
Kind of following the same thing. It's not easy, and like he said, there's a lot of illusory stuff, right? Like people think that I thought getting into this, I was like, I got this great idea, and it's going to be big, and it's commercial sci-fi fiction, and yada yada yada, and it just doesn't work out that way, right? But you know what? The biggest thing that I keep hearing a lot is I wrote what I love. People kept telling me, write what you love, write what you want to read. That's the best advice I think I've ever gotten because you're going to keep having fun with it, which means you're going to keep sticking with it a lot longer than if you try to adhere to what's popular in traditional publishing right now versus what's popular, yada, yada, right? Write what you love. And then you're going to figure out, you know what, maybe you're going to figure out, okay, yeah, maybe I want to be rich and famous, or maybe I just want to write what I love. And that's kind of what happened to me, like I started out with these grandiose visions of where I would be with all this stuff, and I realized, that's fine and all, but I love what I do, and I love writing my stories, and I'm not going to stop. And then that's kind of when you start hitting your stride, right? You're like, okay, I'm writing what I love, and I'm not going to stop. And I think that's the easiest way to not stop, because as Tim said, you do enough of it, eventually you're going to get out there. It may not be now, and it may not be in your early 20s like when I wanted it to happen, right? But if you keep doing it, it's going to happen. And the best way to ensure that you keep doing it is to write what you want. That's it.
Okay. Cool. Now, this right here, this might be touching for the outside world. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Okay. Now, make sure I got it. Does a big ego help or hurt a writer?
Ooh. I wouldn't say I feel like a healthy amount of ego is good because you need to believe in yourself to an extent. But I feel like it's that thing where this is like a weird Zen philosophy thing I heard on a podcast one time. So, it's a little, but your ego should be a tool. And when the tool starts using you, that's when you have a problem versus the tool.
Okay.
And
I agree with that. I think to do anything, I think ego can obviously hurt, but it can help, right? So I play a lot of sports, and I still watch a ton of sports. And you watch these guys, and I know not everybody can relate to this, but I know you're into sports, Cook, so I kind of did some research of my own on you, right? So you see these guys, right, on TV doing these interviews, and or like playing on professional sports and all these things. There's not a single person on that field that doesn't think they're the best. Because if they didn't think that, they wouldn't be playing as pros, right? But obviously that can be detrimental. And just as Tim said, there's a point where it gets too much. But you have to think it, and you have to believe it. And I think it can be a driving factor for you as long as you can. It's such a fine line, right? That you have to tell. You have to be confident in yourself, and you have to have an ego, and you have to say, yeah, I am good. I'm really good. This is what I have to do. Or you don't, and it's really, and then you just fight that like imposter syndrome, or you fight yourself so much harder. But then again, you go over that line, and you see the self-destruction of people, right? That have too much. It's really hard to balance, and I don't think a lot of people can do it gracefully. And I'm still learning how to do it, But but I think it can help. I think it can help.
You definitely need enough ego to be willing to be hey, this is something I want to show people. But you also have to have enough humility to get feedback or notes on your work to be okay, I'm going to listen and see what works and what doesn't work about this piece of writing and all that.
Okay. Um, here go a cool one right here, man. That it's about emotions. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, that by knowing both of y'all as much as I know, and from the things y'all have said so far, and we've talked about behind the scenes, that you are emotionally connected to the things that you write. You correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. All right. Cool. So I am a good judge. I can see through. You know.
Yep.
Virgo.
Yep.
You know, I'm a Virgo. You know, I can't help it. You know, us Virgos. We think we know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just a joke. It's a joke. I'm sorry. Okay. If a person isn't emotionally connected, if the person isn't emotionally connected to what they write, and can the writing process work? Feel what I'm saying? Like if you're trying to write a story that has a lot of anger or a lot of sadness or a lot of difficulty, but you ain't connected to it emotionally, can it work?
It depends on what you're trying to do. I think it can work. I think there are, and I'm not saying it can work in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can tell when someone's really attached to their work versus when people just kind of follow the formula. So I guess to answer your question, I think it can work. It doesn't always work well, and people can tell that it's, maybe it wasn't all there, right? And the person wasn't totally emotionally attached to the work. And then you get the pieces where you can really tell that the people felt like maybe it was the author coming out and bleeding on the page for you, or maybe it was just their great research and the experiences of other people. But either way, I think being emotionally connected to what you're writing is usually better. Despite that, though, it can work. Like, you can still write a story, and I think some people have the process down so well to the point where they can get stuff published and they can just write and write and write and write.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass a little bit, and everyone's attached to their story a little bit. But I feel like it happens. I feel like you can still get stuff done, but it sucks. And I don't know, because I'm very, like you said, I'm very, very attached to my stuff, and it's hard to imagine that people can really do that. And maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Well,
Mr. Tim?
Well, the way I look at it is, there's emotional attachment, yeah, and you do put you should put some of your own life into your stories and all that. But you don't, like, if there's a lot of anger in your story, you're probably not just sitting there like keyboard. I would say just try to make whatever you're working on something you care about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be some aspect where it's like, I want this to show, or I want this part to work, or like this is a thing that interested me that I want to get through and to talk about in some weird way.
Okay.
I think Christian actually said a lot of good things. It's kind of, that's all I've got for it.
Okay, that's cool. I understand. Yeah. Cool. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want both of your perspectives on whatever I ask. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I do have certain stuff that I want to ask just one of y'all, but it's like I know the other one has an answer too. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel comfortable talking with y'all and letting you know what's what. So you know what I'm saying. So anyway. But by the way, perfect. That was a great answer. Like I said, y'all teaching me, y'all helping me learn too. So just so you know, because it's a lot that I didn't know that y'all letting me know. Because I'm the type of person that used to write the poetry or used to write the little, rhymes. You know what I'm saying? And writer's block can happen. You can get to a point where you can't think of what to jot down. And
why used to? What are you doing now? You're not writing? Are you still writing a little bit? You still dabble a little bit?
I mean, just a dab, but it comes in spurs. It always happened like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and a video will come on, and then I'll be like, man, I wonder what would that sound like with no words. Then I go on YouTube and find it. Then I probably write like half a page and be like, just stop. Leave it alone. Put it down.
See, this sounds like I end up sleeping or going to bed at like 4 a.m. a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's me.
Yep.
That's me. Yes.
Right there.
I'm a Batman. I'm a Batman fan. I must admit, I don't go to sleep, man. I'm an owl.
You are the night. You are the night.
Oh man. So, you know what I mean? And that's crazy. This next question. What is your writing kryptonite?
Oh man. So many things. Writing kryptonite. I know this is going to be a generic answer, probably, and Tim already brought it up a little bit, but imposter syndrome. Sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm writing, and I'm starting to and even before I write, I'll spend all day thinking about what I'm going to go home and do and write, and then as soon as I sit down, it just happens, and sometimes it'll just come in and be like, everything that you're about to do is dumb, that's stupid. No one's gonna, and it's just these weird intrusive thoughts, even though I spent all day super excited about it, right? And coming home and getting down with it and finally finishing this scene or this short story. And all of a sudden that just comes in, it is a kryptonite, because a lot of the times I'll be like, yeah, you know what? I'll just take the day off, and use that as I'll be like, no, I didn't give in to imposter syndrome. I just want to go have a beer or something, right? But I kind of did, right? And I'm really good at justifying shit. So, I could be like, nah, that wasn't imposter syndrome that got me to not write today. It was I want to go have a beer. My friends invited me, so yeah, I guess I'm going to do that instead, or, whatever. And I think that's my kryptonite mostly. It's hard. It's hard to get over. But, that's the process, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. Mr. Tim?
One thing I will say to that is I kind of have that problem sometimes too, but just remember you can always go back and fix it later and just get the words out. That's kind of what's that particular problem. But my personal kryptonite is just I'm kind of lazy, and I'll just sometimes I just won't write, and I feel and that's one thing where I'm trying to get better about, just making it a routine where I write more often than I do. But I just finished a project that I was working on, and I'm kind of waiting to get notes back on that. And I'm not really working on anything personal in my free time right now, and I'm kind of realizing I really should be. So that's kind of my kryptonite, is just deep down I'm a lazy dude, and that seeps into my life sometimes.
Okay, now let me relate with you guys, because I too have that kryptonite problem. Because I feel like I could definitely be attempting, or trying, or doing. I hate saying trying when you can do, but whatever that word is I'm looking for, I could be doing that more. And you know what I mean? I guess me asking y'all advice, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all the authors, I'm the podcaster. So what is something that you do to kick that? What's one thing that you do to kind of kick that? What's something that make you go on and get up and do it? You know what I'm saying? Because I could use that method too.
Oh man. I think you just have to remember it. I have a really big problem of taking compliments and then attributing it to, oh, they're my friends, or yada yada yada, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's not for everybody, but sometimes when I'm really, really in my low, I'll go back to those compliments and I'll go, okay, you know what, maybe if you're really facing those hard, once again, I'm attributing, my kryptonite is imposter syndrome. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting in there and I have to, sometimes I'll read those compliments and I'll be, all right, I'm fine. I'm fine. Whatever. And I'm just going to write, and just kind of trudge through it. And sometimes there's no easy way. Sometimes there's no easy answer, and there's no icy hot, right? Or ibuprofen. Sometimes you just got to power through it. And I think that's another advice I would give to people is, God, even if you don't want to and you hate your life that day, just get something, but just go, just do it. Whatever, just do it. You're not going to do anything else. Just go do it.
I like that. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I like that. Mr. Tim, how about you?
Yeah, you might hit a plug, you might not. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
I really agree with Christian in a lot of that. And a lot of it for me is just, because I said my personal kryptonite is just kind of laziness in general. It's just like the same thing where it's like, well, I'm going to do it. Like how I have to do my dishes or, shower or something. Just try to make it a daily thing where it's like, this is part of my life and it's something I need to get done.
Okay. Cool. And I'm definitely taking it all in because I need to hear this. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest with y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I did some research and then I got lazy. And then I was going to work, and then I was like, man, okay, I got a couple more days. And then it got closer and closer. I'm like, man, I got a couple more days. Then we started chatting. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I better get with it, man, because it's almost time. And then when the day came, I was like, hey, man, I need to hurry up and get on. Then both of y'all tagged me, and I was like, hey, wake up, man. You know what I'm saying?
This is real.
Like, wake up, man. Come on now. You got to get real. You know what I mean? So, how did y'all meet ASAP?
Do you want to go first?
Go ahead, Mitch.
Okay, so, as I said, I got lucky with a job opportunity at Endless Mile Studios where I hit them up because I was like, because it was an independent film studio that I heard about, and they specialized in doing stories that were about comic books and horror and fantasy and science fiction, and those were all the things that I wanted to write and do eventually, and I was like, I want to be a part of that. So that's how I got in, and then they knew at the time when I was getting in, they had just done a short film that was a fan film about Superman and Lois Lane meeting for the first time in a laundromat that showed at Geek Fest and all that stuff.
Okay.
And they were interviewed by the esteemed Mr. Paul Hayden about this short film on, I believe it was the Comic Crusaders podcast, and they kind of became friends with him through that. And that's how I met Paul, was through them. Just, being the friends and throwing ideas around.
Salute.
So I got very lucky when I knocked on Endless Mile Studios door, I think.
That's cool. That's cool. And what about you, Mr. Chris?
Yeah, no, that is cool. Yeah, I'm humbled, man. You've been around a lot longer with it than I have, for sure. Because I got thrown into this mix with perspectives, right? I had known, L.A. Cunningham, who's now the editor-in-chief of ASAP Comics.
Okay.
But we were just Twitter mutuals, right, for a while, and then saw she's like, oh, I teamed up with, Paul, and we are going to do this thing together. So there's just something I had followed for, the last year. Okay. And then I saw one of them post, hey, we're going to do this anthology. Anybody want to throw their stories into it? I was like, heck yeah. And I did. And then after I got it, Paul reached out, was like, hey, man, you seem like an okay dude, and, this is what I'm offering. This is kind of ASAP. And, we had a very choppy video call from the UK to Montana, which kind of froze a little bit, but we still got it done.
Still got it.
Yeah, we got it done. He laid it out for me, and the dude's got so much magnetic energy, man. I couldn't say no. But
yeah, you're right.
But that's kind of how I got introduced to it, through perspectives and through just weird random. Once again, lucky like Tim, just weird random Twitter connections and Twitter social media. I don't know how that works, but it's working for me for a little bit, I guess. So.
Right. Okay. Now, you know what I mean? And while I'm talking with you, Mr. Chris, what made you want to become a writer? Same question for you too, Mr. Tim. What made you want to become a writer, Mr. Chris?
Oh, man. It's funny. I've been into a lot of different stuff in my life, a lot of different things that have been the main priority of my life. And, when I was a kid, I loved stories and I loved video games, and I loved all this stuff. And I was writing Pokemon fan fiction, right, in my diaries and journals, and drawing up the little pictures, and I
Oh,
loved it. It was
really?
great.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
no, I loved it.
That's dope.
It's my
That's
favorite
dope.
thing. And then I started playing sports, right, and that kind of took up my whole life up until college. And then after
Mm.
college, I was like, well, what am I doing? And those stories, all those things, just never really went away. And even though I put those hobbies and those things that I like to do, like art and stuff, on the back burner, it just
Mhm.
kind of flourished again. And all of a sudden, all of my brain power started going to, like, which there's not a ton of brain power. People around me will tell you that. But but it started just going, refocusing to, like, oh my gosh, I have these stories and I want to create again and I want to write. And in my early 20s, I started thinking of all the stories again, and it kind of just blossomed back into this very, very focused thing that I'm doing now. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah, yeah.
Miss Tim.
Uh, I just grew up loving art and film and stories and stuff like that. Like, it was also that thing where I grew up in a pretty permissive household where as long as I got good grades, I could watch pretty much whatever movies I wanted and read whatever books I wanted. So I probably got exposed to some things that I was a little young for at the time that I was, but I feel like that was, on the whole, I'm glad that I did. And yeah, it's just that thing where, as I was growing up, I just couldn't imagine wanting to do something with my life that wasn't focused on the arts and trying to tell stories and stuff like that. And yeah, that's why I pursued acting. Was just I loved that. I loved theater. I wanted, to tell stories. Even when I decided to kind of take a bit of a detour into doing grad school for psychology, I still kind of like what I kind of love about psychology is also kind of what I love about theater is, it's the stories we tell ourselves, the things that, define who we are, the things that we carry inside that we can't talk to about other people, except in some instances,
Mhm.
just those things and how, we need to talk and communicate just as human beings. I think that's, yeah, just all that stuff in broad strokes is kind of why I wanted to be a writer.
Okay. Cool. Thank y'all for that right there. That's cool.
Too.
Say it one more time.
And to have fun as well, because it's very fun.
It is
Okay.
fun.
And that's a good way to segue into this next question. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Let me ask you this. Some people get energized and some people get exhausted. So for you, when it comes to writing these days, do you write, is it more energizing or is it more exhausting?
I
That might
think
be a toughie.
I think it kind of depends on what you're writing, because
Hmm.
because some things are like like sometimes when I write like action sequences and stuff like that, I get energy doing
Hmm.
that, even though I'm just sitting in my chair and I'm probably just making like um. But or like if there are sadder things or things that kind of take energy out of you while you're doing it, then I think that's exhaustive. But yeah, it varies from project to project, I'd say.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, yeah. I think I definitely agree. I get energized with, like, dialogue sequences and action sequences, and when I'm starting to try to world build, and I'm starting to try to do research for stuff. I mean, that can be a little draining. It's all more fun than anything, I think. But I definitely get, yeah, it can be energizing, and you can just crank out the words, and then sometimes you're like, man, is that all I wrote? I felt like I've been doing this for a few hours. Like, I've been researching things. I'm like, oh God, I need a break. So I don't know. Nothing's more de-energizing though than hanging out with people you don't want to hang out with. Right? So I get to hang out with people I want to hang out with my books.
Okay. The good one, good one. Now we straight pivoted into the next one. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Now this how I'm gonna ask this question. And it's pretty simple. Okay. I'm gonna ask both of y'all the name of name of your book. So first, Mr. Chris, what's the title of your book again?
My short story or my book?
Your book.
Okay, so the book that I wrote is called The Void, and it's a big sci-fi space opera, big big grandiose sort of thing. So.
Okay, and the reason why I asked you that question is because I want to know, and of course other writers would like to know, or upcoming writers, what type of research did you have to do for that specific book? Like, did you
Gotcha.
have to
So
go ahead? I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. So my book is a sci-fi fantasy, and I wanted to keep it slightly grounded, but not too much. The type of research that you have to do is just, I don't know, you just have to be very specific to what the scene you're trying to build. You know, if you want to make it a realistic, you know, scene without gravity, right? Go ahead and try to look up as many articles as you can about that kind of stuff. With the short story like Murmuring John, right? All it took was some math and some simple stuff like, you know, when he's floating so long, he's going this fast and he's going this fast for this many days, right? How many kilometers is that? It's so many million kilometers, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the kind of research that you have to like. it's not necessarily difficult, but it takes time and it takes energy, and those are the kind of things, you know, that you have to just. And it's very scene specific, so it's just navigating, I guess, the story you want to tell and the details that you want to tell, because sometimes too much details will pull readers away, right? So you just kind of want to give what you need to do in the scene, the details to make the scene believable, if that's what you're going for, and kind of work there, you know, and that could take some time, but it's worth it. It always is, usually.
Yes, sir. Okay, cool. I understand that too. Mr. Tim, about now, what's the title of your book?
Oh, I don't really write like short story or stories in prose for the most part, because I mostly like write scripts. So I don't really. I just have the surprises never end in perspectives.
Okay, so we'll stay right there. What type of research did you have to do to make all that fit inside that book?
So when I was talking to my boss at Endless Mile Studios, and we were talking about what the story, like some ideas for the story, one idea he pitched me was, what if the main character had dyspraxia? And it's not super explicit in the story, but the main character is written to have dyspraxia. So I did some research on like what that would be like, what kind of, you know, how that would look, sort of thing. And so I did some research on that. There's like the community they live in that story is also kind of takes place in a rural community, and like kind of like an Old West feel to it, and it's sort of a harvest town. So I kind of there was an event that happened over the summer at night, and I wanted to like know, would it be the harvest moon or the whatever moon, and it turned out the moon I was looking for was the flower moon. So I didn't. So like little details like that, I think, are good to add more to the story and put a little more flavor into it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the writer's process, right? We spend 3 hours researching to write 2 or 3 sentences on something. We're like, okay, this is accurate. Finally, I did 3 hours of research to write a paragraph.
I had like the sensation of like you sit down to write for 5 hours, and for 4 hours you write 1 page, but then in that last hour you hit your stride and you get like 6 or 7 pages out. Because I all the time, and it's like it's weird. It's just where you hit your stride and what works and when it's working. Like you don't necessarily have control over. Yeah.
And y'all definitely hitting stride, because you just punched me into the next question. It's perfect. Thank you, gentlemen, man. Straight up, because what y'all saying makes sense for what I'm finna ask. You know, for somebody like me who ain't never wrote no book, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, I wrote a bunch of pages. Maybe if I put together, let's see, 39 years of stuff I done wrote down, I could probably make a book, but that's you know what I mean? Like time wise, when you start, you know, how long would it, or does it? I don't even know how to ask it right, because you know what I mean, I don't want it to sound like you can't rush a good book. you know what I mean? I'm just saying that off the top of the dome. So like, what's the normal time? But then I can't ask that either because everybody different the way they write. So
Right.
help me out. Well, I guess what I'm asking is, how long would it take somebody to write a book if they're serious about it, or a short story, or you know what I mean?
So I mostly write screenplays and scripts, and that usually, if it's going well and I know what I want to do, it takes about a month to get the first draft.
Ah,
The first time, well, and sometimes it take more. Like the first full-length screenplay I wrote for Endless Mile Studio, I got a 76-page draft or so out in about 10 days because I was really like kind of trying to push it out and get it done. So yeah, and in the subsequent rewrites, it looked nothing like that initial draft by the end of it. But you know, and then I think it took a few weeks for like 2 or 3 weeks for each draft of the short story. I don't really remember on that though.
okay. Just curious. And Mr. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, you know, I've had a weird process that I feel like is pretty. I don't know. I feel like it can only be applied to me. So if people are hearing this, you know, that I've written books, try not to take what I say for what it is. So I was very fortunate when I finally started writing my book. I'd been thinking about the book without writing a word down for like 2 years. You know, right? 22 to like 24. And then I ended up moving in with my sister for a while down in Utah, like you were asking me about earlier. And she was just like, hey, finish your book. And I was like, okay. She's like, you don't have to get a job right now. Just finish your book. And so I spent the summer, and I was very fortunate. Like, people don't get that opportunity to do that kind of stuff. But I wrote my book in about 3 months. It's like almost 500 pages. I spent like 6 to 8 hours a day turning it, well, like weekdays, you know, still had weekends and stuff. Yeah. Turned it out pretty good. It still took a long time. And like I said, that's a very fortunate situation for me. Now that I'm out of that, right, and I'm like, you know, I'm doing my own, I'm back in Montana working and stuff, things are a lot slower. So I don't really have like a time frame for like how my work does or how a book should be written. But, you know, it's just very dependent, I guess, on your situation. And for me, like I said, I was fortunate for my book, and now things are a little slower. I've written about a few half books here and there, and the short stories come, you know, and like I said earlier, you just have to try to find time and try to find any time that you can get any words down. Because like I'll be tired and I'll get home from work and I won't write, but I'll lay on my couch and I'll start writing on my phone, and I'll like I'm just gonna crank out some words in this short story, right? And sometimes I can crank a short story out in a couple weeks, and sometimes it takes me a few months. The one I'm working right now has been a month and a half, and it's not even close to anymore, right? So the process is going to vary. It's always going to vary, and you got to remember that. And I think for people listening, don't base it off of like, oh, I was able to do this, and now I can't do this anymore, and now I'm not good at this anymore. Because if I did that, I'd be pretty discouraged, because I was able to crank out a 500-page book in 3 months. You know, but you got to remember that that's not always how it's going to be. It's never going to be how it's always going to be. You always have to write around your life until your life's writing, and that's the dream for most of us, right? But until that happens, you got to write around your life.
But still on the back, you got out a 500-page book, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's been edited down a little bit, so not quite 500 anymore, but I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Straight up. Now, once again, perfect segue. The type of schedule that you have to do what you guys do right now. You know what I'm saying? The things in the books that y'all, and the books and the scripts and stuff that y'all have created right now. What type of schedule do you have to be in y'all shoes right now, as far as like, you know what I mean? Especially if you want to take it a step faster, you know what I'm saying? And what type of risk is involved, you know what I'm saying? Financial, family time, even health, you know what I'm saying? Not thinking, you know what I mean? What, like, y'all let me know, like, fill me in and fill us in, and the people that's watching. Whoever would like to start. Other one catch up.
You know, it's one of those things where I'm very lucky that I have the job at Endless Smile Studios, because that means I kind of get paid to write, and that's kind of my 9 to 5, which so many people don't get that, and it's like I definitely count a lot of my blessings. Before that, when I was just writing on my own, it was that thing where I was juggling a job and grad school and all that, and I kind of hit a point where it's like, okay, I'm not like, and I was kind of getting back into video games in like 2018, 2019, and playing like the new Spider-Man and that Batman game I hadn't caught up with. And then I kind of finished them, and I was like, you know what? I'm not playing video games until I get this first draft down.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to spend at least 2 hours a night just typing away on a script that I was working on, and my first script. And it's that thing where it's hard, but if it is important to you, you do just have to kind of be like, okay, I need to make time for this somewhere, and yeah, and we got to juggle jobs and responsibilities and stuff too. So yeah.
So I forgot to add sacrifices when you said that a little bit too. So Mr. Chris, before you answer, also add that in as well, and it's as sacrifices as well. That's so glad you said that, Mr. Tim. Thank you. If you think, go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, and kind of to talk about what Tim said, I'm a little fortunate too right now, especially. I was working a full-time job, and it's a pretty good paying job, and then they offered a part-time position just because they had an opening for it. And I was able to move into that and still keep a bunch of benefits, right? So I've got a good situation going, which gives me time to write. Mm-hmm. But I think the most important thing for people who, even if you're not in a situation where it's fortunate for your writing, is to make a schedule. Like you said, what's your schedule? Your schedule, you got to make it. That's it. You just have to make a schedule and then stick to it, And sometimes, like you said, you're not going to be as fortunate as me and Tim. You're not going to be able to write every day, like we get to. If your schedule is on the weekends, great, make it, stick to it, right? If your schedule is at night, and you're a night owl and you're like, I can write from 12 to 2 in the morning and then work at 10, that's fine. That's your schedule. Stick to it. I think that's the most important thing when you're talking about schedules and sacrifices. Sacrifices for me, dude. I'm a big gamer too, Tim. Huge gamer. I have to really reel it in, man. I got to reel it in because I play games. I will pick up a new game and I'll play it until I'm done with it. And sometimes it takes weeks. And it's terrible, but I love games, man. I love video games. One of my kryptonite is fucking video games, bro.
Uh-huh. That's a lot of folks' kryptonite too, cuz. For real. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had to mention that sacrifice part, because when Mr. Tim, you was talking about the game, and I know you was like, you had to go ahead and put it down for a second, and I understand. I got homeboys around my way that they had to be like, man, I had to put the game down, man. I forgot I was doing this. I forgot I was doing that. I left the water running.
I can't join up tonight. I got shit.
You know what I mean? Got stuff to do. You know what I mean? Missed all kind of phone calls and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We go with just a little easy, simple question, man. Probably kind of funny. Yeah. Like when y'all be writing, man, do you have like a little snack, your favorite little snack or favorite little drink you like to have around when you write, man, that make you just feel a little more comfortable or help you think just a little bit easier?
Definitely like to be caffeinated when I write in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a coffee fiend. Like you've seen me just drinking away. Like it's empty. Just I like my coffee.
Yeah, I love coffee. Yeah, and nothing wrong with some coffee now. I drink it at any time of the day too. Sure would. What about you, Mr. Chris?
Man, I have a few things because it depends on what I'm writing, man. I like coffee, in the day to wake me up. But if I'm writing at night, I definitely like to give myself a little nightcap. Problem is I gotta be careful. I don't start my nightcap too early, because then my writing will stop early. Like if I start drinking whiskey at 7, then I'm not gonna get up writing as a. So I gotta really hold off and make sure it's a nightcap and not 7 o'clock. make me feel terrible for the next day. But it just depends. During the day, yeah, give me that coffee. At night, I like a little whiskey and it's
Yeah, gotta get your chill on, man. Come on now, you gotta get your chill on, especially after banging your brain and just writing, and then chilling and writing some more. You gotta get your chill on. I swear I understand it. Okay.
Absolutely.
I got a couple questions for each one of y'all. And the other one can, if the other one wants to elaborate with them, that's fine. Okay. I started with Mr. Tim last time, so Mr. Chris, I'm gonna start with you. And like I said, Mr. Tim, if you want to elaborate on it in it, that's fine. But you know what I mean? Like I said, because like I had a couple, I just wanted to ask y'all individually. So, and it's just like 2 or 3. Mr. Chris, at what point can someone call themselves a writer?
At any point, man. I know there's a huge discord, in social medias and stuff about like when are you a writer and when you're an author, man. And I don't know, the process is so long and so grueling and so just taxing from when you start and whenever you're at our place versus I'm sure whenever you have even established authors who make their money. The entire process is grueling. The second you decide to step your toe into it, you're a writer. That's what I think. You're thinking about it, you have these stories in your brain, you start to get some words down, you're a writer. That's it. Because from then on, if you decide to stick with it, from then to the end of your career is going to be hard. So own it. You're a writer, own it. Right when you start.
Okay. And Mr. Tim, you want to elaborate on it? Because I got one for you.
This is also where I have the imposter syndrome, where even now I'm like, am I a writer, though?
I define it, too, just giving my answer.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that one.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I got one for you. Now, Mr. Chris, you can, if you want to elaborate afterwards, you can. I'm going to start with him. So, Mr. Tim, what difference do you see between a writer and an author?
Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like that's the difference between a stand-up comic and a stand-up comedian. Maybe. Well, because I'm not sure I'm an author because I don't, I've written the short story, and I might have some more short stories in that universe, and I don't know that I have any novels in me, though, like Christian does. So I feel like I'm probably a little more of a writer, whereas I feel like an author is more like longer works would be the distinction. But I don't know.
Chris, I know you. I can see you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't feel like trying to put a definition on either of these words, but I think I agree with him a little bit. Writing, to be a writer covers so many things from script writing, right, to being a writer. And author is a writer. I don't know. I think typically the way people view authors are book writers, but that's also not always the case, right? The author of you can be an author of a lot of stuff. It's a very, very weird, when you start trying to put definitions and trying to pick out what different words mean in these kind of things, it's very difficult because someone's going to be like, well, no, actually, I'm an author and this is what I do. And I'm going to be like, yeah, you're right. Because you are an author and I'm not going to say anything against that. So, we're all writers, we're all authors. And it's really hard because there's no lines. There's literally no lines, I think, with those two terms, like comic and comedian, right? There's no lines. It blurs so much to the point where if anybody has a definitive position on it,
well,
I don't know.
I used to do a little stand-up, and I feel like, from what I remember, a comedian was more respectable for some reason, but I don't quite remember what the definition was.
Yeah. It's probably changed since then, too, because that's just how we do it. For some reason, we decide to take meanings of words and change them over time.
Okay.
Kind of elusive to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Good. Y'all helping me out. I got you. Okay. Here we go. Back to you, Mr. Chris. And
sure.
I feel like when I ask you this one, like I said, same thing. I'm pretty sure, Mr. Tim, you might want to touch on this one. Mr. Chris, how do you process or deal with negative reviews?
Negative reviews. Oh man, gosh.
Not to say that you have any. It's just a open question.
I think critiques. I think at this point in my career, I think negative things should be critiques, right?
Mm-hmm.
I should look at them and try to build from them. I don't have too many crazy things out there, right? And throughout my life and everything that I've done, if someone was being negative, usually it was because they're trying to critique me. I feel like I'm pretty good at negative stuff. I can kind of take it neutrally, not get mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Although, when you get your editor, like I've sent my book out a couple times to get editors, and they say, hey, this doesn't work. And it's really hard. It's really hard to hear your editor, someone breaking down your stuff and be like, this doesn't work, change it. And it's a tough pill to swallow, and you have to do it. And you have to realize when it's critique and when it's not. Negative reviews, if I ever got too many crazy negative reviews, like if I got enough to make me go, okay, what am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there something really wrong with what I'm doing? How can I learn? That's the best way to approach it, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of constructive criticism might come off as negative when people are just trying to help you. And I think that's just the way people, it's at that point, it's your perception of it. So that's how I'm going to approach it, and be like, okay, how can I learn? What can I do to learn from what you're trying to tell me?
Mm-hmm.
Take what I can learn and then move on, right? And that's about all you can do, I think, with negative stuff.
And Mr. Tin, you want to touch on?
I think he said pretty well. Just and it's also that thing where try to be constructive about it, and it's also that thing where you can't be precious with your work, because because think of the work as the baby, where you want to raise it, you want to protect it to an extent, but at a certain point, you have to let the kid run around and scrape their knees on the playground, and then they'll come back. Well, this is kind of the writing process sometimes. You fix it up, you get it in a better place. It's also, I feel like that if I got a negative review on a published piece that I couldn't do anything with after that, I would just have to remind myself it's a reflection on the piece. It's not necessarily a reflection on me as a person. Yeah. That would probably be my way to deal with it, I guess.
Okay. Cool. All right. And this last one, I can ask both of y'all. So I'm just gonna ask both of y'all. Who do you trust when it comes to that criticism? Like when you wanna go to somebody and say, what do you think about this? Or is there a moment where do you have that what I'm trying to say, what's the word I'm looking for? Someone that you trust that, you'll let see your early drafts or whatever. I want to make sure I'm asking it right, because I don't want to ask it the wrong way. But somebody that you trust, you know what I'm saying? Not some fan or somebody who ain't reading nothing for real, and they, you know what I mean? So go ahead, whoever would like to start.
Yeah, I'm still finding a hard time with that, right? Because I said, once again, I'm going to hit on it again, because I know a lot of authors deal with this, but imposter syndrome, I send it, I trust a lot of people close to me, right? I trust a ton. And I send people betas, and I send, my girlfriend, she edits stuff, and so I'll give it to her, and she's like, this was really good. And my immediate knee-jerk thought is, she has to say that. And it's the same thing that I think when I send it to my other trusted people. I do have trusted people where I send it, especially like my close friends. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh, this is good, man. Mm-hmm. And you have to get over that knee-jerk reaction. It's really tough. But I definitely have people close to me that I do trust, and I think that's the most important point to remember, is that I trust them. I'm sending it to them. I trust them to give me feedback, and then get over any other feelings I have after that. And it's a hard process. It's really hard to send out your work, beta, otherwise, before it's completely done, to anybody close to you. It's like peeling the skin off your freaking forearm, man. I'm telling you. It's hard for anybody that's done it, but you got to do it. You have to, and then you have to trust the people that you send it to, because you chose them. So it's all hard, but you got to do it.
Okay. And let's see.
you know, I'm lucky. I've got friends and colleagues who I'll send it out to, and they'll be like, yeah, so, and it's one of those things where I'm getting better and better at not taking it personal, which I think is really important. Where they'll be like, yeah, this part works, this part doesn't, I was confused by this. And it's one of those things where, yeah, I just kind of take it in stride. And early on when I used to send out stuff I had written to friends and things like that, a lot of the time I would never hear anything back. And I would think, oh, God, it was so bad that they don't even want to talk to me about it. And that is worse than just getting, like, a negative review from a friend. Was that weird? Like, and there's always that suspense when you send it out, and you're just like, man, what they think? Like, what do I need to do to fix it and make it work better? I don't know.
Yeah, at least tell me I suck. You know, like, tell me I suck. Don't just leave me on hold. Don't leave me. Don't say anything. At least tell me.
Your favorite and your least parts of the publishing, of writing, the publishing. Like, what's some of your favorite parts and what's some of your least favorite parts? I feel like y'all done told me some of them already, but, you know, just to touch up, because it sounds like, I know both of y'all have done a lot of work, you know what I'm saying, in what you created, you know what I mean, your characters and how y'all do. So, what's been some of your favorite parts and some of your least favorite parts?
Yeah, do you mean like publishing or just like the whole process in general?
I'm going to say, let's go with the whole process. We ain't even got to break it apart. The whole process.
Sure. Favorite parts, man, creating. I can't stop stupid stories in my brain, right? Like, they're always going to be there, tinkering around, and being able to create those, and then now being able to have people read them. Like, it's not like anything I've done before, right, in my life, and it's a very cool thing. It's I don't know. I'm an author that's at a loss for words for it, right? It's just such an incredible experience to be able to create and have people enjoy what you create. I think a lot of creators, between art and, like, that's what they strive for, right? And I think that's the best part. It's like the most enjoyable part for me, but also just doing it, like just creating it. Just seeing your vision and then writing it and being like, yeah, this works, even if it's just to myself. I think that's so much fun. Worst parts about it, though, oh man, it takes up a lot of time, and I hate to be as real as I'm gonna be. It takes a lot of time, and it gives you nothing back. It doesn't.
Oh.
Like monetarily, right? Or like real world applications, because our world it's built on money and existing and doing these things. And art, unfortunately, and these things really aren't taken seriously still. They're taken advantage of, but they're not taken seriously. And so it's really hard to spend as much time as you're doing that, and still, you know, go to work. Right, and do things that you don't like, because I don't like to go to work. I don't want to work. I want to write all day. So I think that's the worst part about it, is finding that balance between, okay, I have to exist in society, and I also want to write books all day.
Oh, and Mr. Tim?
You know, there's a lot I actually enjoy about it. There's, like, mostly I enjoy the creating and getting these stories out and all that. And then, like, there's a lot of other parts that I feel like are really just great. Like, the entire ride with the Perspectives anthology has been a delight. Getting, like, the thrill of getting it published in that book and, like, having that story reach people and getting to meet other authors through video, like Christian and all that.
Yes, sir.
It's all been, like, a lot of fun. And I just really, like, mostly it's really a joy. But the parts that I'm still kind of wrapping my head around are, like, the business parts of, like, the business. And, you know, learning how to seal deals and, you know, that kind of anxiety of, can I forge, like, a permanent place or a permanent career or a long-lasting career or something like that doing this. And, like, sort of those uncertainties and anxieties that are, to me, are kind of encapsulated in the business aspects of it. That's the stuff that I like as much, but learning to kind of deal with as it goes on.
All right. Now this is a question that I'm asking for me. I'm asking both of y'all. This is cookz24 asking y'all. What other hobbies do y'all have? Like, I know you like sports. I know both of y'all like video games. I know you like cats. I know you like dogs. I know you like outside, Chris. And I know, Mr. T, you like to chill. You know what I'm saying? So what's y'all main type of hobbies? I know y'all like comics. I know you like to collect. So I know it's some Marvel, some DC somewhere in y'all collection somewhere. Like what, RoboCop, like tell me we'll start with you, Mr. Chris, and then Mr. Tim will come to you. Like what's some of the other things that you collect, some of your other hobbies? Just interesting to know about you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I mean, like I spent my whole life, playing a variety of sports into college. I still love going to the gym. I like going outside. I like hiking, but like honestly, I'm a weird dichotomy where like I can stay and play video games for 18 hours a day. Like I love video games. Like I think they're and I know I write books and I wrote a story for this, but I think they're the best medium to tell a story. I think, or at least maybe not the best. Obviously, that's kind of weird to say, but maybe even the most unique way to tell a story because you have the interaction between someone being able to physically move their character into the dark hallway where the creepy thing jumps out. Like they're actually feeling this story, and they have the cinematics of a movie and the length of a book. Like it just combines it all into one. So video games are definitely a big old passion of mine. It's weird, but not weird, obviously, in today's day and age, but I wish I made more time for it and stuff like that. And I do love going into the local breweries and dog watching. I mean, that's kind of like that there.
Hey, that's cool. Hey, that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I write. I mean, like all the things I do, I write, I play video games, I do things that I like, and it's few things, but I love it. So
keep you sane, make you feel good. Yeah, I got you.
That's what I'm saying. Gotta exist somehow.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Tim, what about you, man?
So I talked to you about my minis and how I like to customize and paint gaming scale minis. That's a huge hobby of mine. I play D&D sometimes, and I actually just started a D&D campaign again with some friends, so that's really cool. I'm actually not big of a gamer as I think you guys are, because like I have to kind of like it's an effort to get me to turn on the game and start playing it, and then like I play for a couple hours and like I'm good. Like I don't know what happened to that 14-year-old who could just like spend 8 hours playing a video game anymore. But I also I try to read for fun when I can. I do improv still. Sometimes I'll do improv or stand-up before the pandemic I did anyway. And that stuff is just for fun, for hobbies, to kind of keep my performing creative arts thing juices flowing. And actually, while we're talking about collecting comics, I got this fancy display comic, which is...
I saw that earlier. Yeah.
Creature number 3. It's like such a great cover and such a great introduction to that character that I happen to have nearby in my room.
Man.
I mostly collect comics to read them, but I got this one as a little treat because we had just finished a bigger project at my work. And I was really happy.
That's awesome, man. That's cool.
And Mr. Chris, I wanted to ask you, like, say you're into sports, like, do you have certain teams that you watch that you like?
Oh yeah, I mostly just football. Like other sports, basketball, and like I love watching track and and all that kind of stuff. Basketball, I just like to watch the players. Football though is what I played in college. So, and here's the thing, man. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a Cowboys fan, and everyone's gonna go boo, and I get it. Cowboys suck, and I also hate them. I have like a weird love-hate. But when I was 5 years old, they were winning the Super Bowl, okay? And I jumped on the bandwagon. I'm a loyal guy, and I never got off. And so now it's been like 28 years of, I don't know, just crap. So I hate them as much as you do, I promise. But I'm a loyal dude, and I won't go away.
Ooh, man. And Mr. Tim, and Mr. Tim, like, you know what I'm saying? Do you have like any like I know you say you collect. So do you follow any you know what I'm saying, like any TV shows, anything like that? Same go for you too, Mr. Chris. Are there any shows that y'all follow, that y'all watch, that's entertaining to y'all?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of shows I watch. I was a big fan of Castlevania when that was on.
Yes.
I love Sex Education. That's like my favorite show ever right now.
Mm-hmm.
What am I watching? I was a big fan of Game of Thrones when that was on. Bigger fan of those books.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other stuff that I'm probably blanking on right now and forgetting. But yeah,
Any CW stuff?
no, not really. And
You don't dig the superhero stuff.
let's see, I'm more of a Marvel fan than a DC fan at the end of
Okay.
the day.
Understood. Gotcha.
A lot of those Netflix Marvel shows that they used to have.
Okay.
Like,
And
yeah.
go ahead. I ain't mean to stop you. What you was finna say?
Like, I liked the second season of Daredevil really well. I liked the first season of Jessica Jones. Like that.
I ain't like Jessica Jones.
Um,
I like that. I like the Iron Fist. Everybody hated Iron Fist. I like the Iron Fist.
That was sweet.
You like the Iron Fist? Yeah. And I was trying to. Yeah, you too, Mr. Chris. What about you? What about any CW shows or any of the other shows, Marvel shows?
Yeah, I do like I watched. I think The Flash, right, was on CW, wasn't it, and stuff like that. Like, I like those shows, man. They're fun. Superheroes, man. Like, I just take it as it comes, and I'm less into comics than I am into like the media. So I get that. Like, I'm weird because like I'm a writer, right? So I see people like the discourse, and like I'll see people like, oh, the show or the movie was bad. So I have like it's weird. I have a good understanding of a lot of comic book characters because I've researched them and why people are like arguing about them on the internet. But I haven't read a ton of comics. So it's like, I have this weird little, like, I don't understand it too much, but I understand it enough to know why people are mad about or like, you know, like versions of stuff. And those are always cool. As Tim said, anything that's great writing. Game of Thrones was amazing writing at first, you know, and I'm loving. I love stuff like Love, Death, and Robots. You know, those kind of like short story stuff. It's so cool. Gosh, and then Sex Education is great. Like, yeah, like Tim, I have a wide range of things I like. Man, I'll cry at Pixar movies, and I'll cry at like Interstellar and all these different kind of things, right? So it's like I just enjoy a vast. Like any great writing is gonna hook me. There's a ton of good stuff. Castlevania, so good. Oh, I love Castlevania.
You know what I'm saying?
So good.
Now, you know what I'm saying? Now, since we own since a good way to segue into this right here, characters. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You do books and do the stories, and Mr. Tim, you do scripts and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure there are characters involved. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to ask both of you guys is, like, when it comes to the characters that you create, is there any reality to any of the characters that you create? Is there any, personal patches you might have put into some of these characters that nobody would know about? Even I'm asking you right now, and I still wouldn't know. Just wondering if you've ever had a cousin or a friend or an old friend and you turned them into a character. Anything like that.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. A ton.
A ton?
My 7th grade teacher, Mr. Higgins, was such a jerk, man. And he's in a book.
For real?
He's in
Does he go mad from like a terrible Lovecraftian monster that corners him in the hallway?
That's what I'm saying. That's too nice. That's too nice, though. It's gonna be worse.
So that's for real. So like that's what it really. So is it? Does that make it easier? Does it make it easier?
It is that thing where, especially when you're trying to write dialogue and make it believable and make the characters distinct, having like a real person in your mind where it's like as a reference point of like, would my friend say this if he were in this context, kind of a thing. That helps me.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just like, and it's it helps me, and especially if you're trying to make a character that is like, yeah, I know it's not fair probably to the people that I put in books, especially in a negative tone, but I remember them negatively, and you can focus on that and like kind of hone that in. Be like, yeah, these people were this bad. At least that's how I remember it, and it kind of feels it a little bit. And you're like, okay, yeah, I can write this character. And as Tim said, sometimes people say crazy stuff, and you're like, I'm gonna write this in almost verbatim because they said it, man.
Well, not by the same token. I feel like if you're writing a character who's not necessarily based on someone you know for real, you should still have like a way into that character's perspective where you feel confident writing their point of view, you know?
Yep.
Okay.
I agree. And sometimes there's just other things. I take stuff from media all the time, and it's not always bad or good. Sometimes it's great. You know, I have had really awesome experiences in my life where I've added that to characters, or just seeing how well somebody else wrote a character or like a show. Like freaking Avatar's Zuko is the best redemption arc, I think. One of the best redemption arcs out there, you know, it's like in those kind of things. And
oh, that's such a good show in general.
It's so good. And so like I aspire to do something like that kind of, you know, and so it's not always taking people from your life, but sometimes you go, okay, how can I look at this redemption arc and put it into my book? Or how can I look at this character and put it into my book that makes sense, makes it so I'm not taking it, because you just appreciate it so much sometimes. Sometimes I read other people's work. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, how am I going to be able to do that? You know, so.
Okay. And last type of question is on that nature right there. Does either one of you gentlemen, does any one of your perspectives or beliefs, has it ever been challenged when you're creating or writing something, or I'm saying, or diving into a project? Has that ever occurred or happened, or did you ever use that as a form of, you know, getting to the next chapter or get to the end? You know what I mean?
What do you mean exactly? Like a challenge to my like perspective or beliefs in forming?
I actually like something that you might believe in, and you might write a story that's opposite. You know what I'm saying? Would that be easy for you to do? Or my bad. Or I didn't mean to stop you right there. Go ahead. What you say?
Writing something that's the opposite of what I believe actually sounds really challenging. Yeah, like that sounds like it would be a tricky thing to do.
You know what I'm saying? Or let me ask it in this way. Or say, for instance, if you was writing a character that would, I don't know, and maybe it might be something simple where I'm asking it, that would do something that you wouldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Is that challenging? Like writing, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Like if, you know what I'm saying? Like basically, like say if you was writing a story about yourself, but you ain't yourself. You doing something else that you know you wouldn't do. Is that challenging?
I think sometimes it is, but it's also that thing where sometimes it's like it's the things you wish you could do. Like, what if I were unhinged and did some mischief that I wouldn't do in my day-to-day life? That could actually be very cathartic in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also that thing where I feel like all the characters I write, I try to write them from at least somewhat of a human perspective, even if they're a bit more outlandish or different or a robot or what have you. And so just trying to find what the character thinks, even if it is opposed to what I think, there's usually a way in, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find it slightly difficult to write somebody that's opposite of my views or something that I would do. But I think it helps. I think you can write those things because it's hard, but you can write it and you can say, okay, this person would do something that I'm totally not ever going to do. But then it almost makes it easier to write the characters and the people around them and the reactions. Because you're like, well, this is how I feel like these characters. Because at that point you can kind of write whatever you want and say, okay, this guy does, takes heads and genre, whatever, right? And then it's like, okay, well, I can write the character that comes across this very easily. So I think it's kind of toting that line. Like it's hard to write it maybe believable or well, especially when you don't have those feelings at all. But it can be done. And then it only strengthens, like, especially if you don't believe it. If you write a good character to compromise that or counter that, you can relate to that character a little more. But that's kind of the fun of writing, right? It's kind of stepping out of what you would believe and do, and you're like, okay, I'm going to write a character so terrible that I hate, and that's kind of the fun, right? And it's like, see how many people we're going to hate this, and I think that's kind of fuel for it sometimes too, right? Like, and that's what makes it fun. I'm just going to write somebody, they're going to hate this.
Okay. So, a couple more questions before we get to the bonus round, to the check 1 2 round. I'm gonna have some fun. We're gonna laugh. Which we already have been anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I hope both of y'all have y'all been comfortable this whole interview?
Yeah,
everything cool? Okay. And if there's anything that I'm missing that y'all want to cover, please, make sure, because I don't want to miss nothing, because now, because at first I was thinking, it's more than, hold on, how I'm saying, let me get my words right, y'all. It's more than just one book and one title. You guys are known for multiple titles and multiple things. Am I right? So even though your book that we talk about and your book that we talked about, like, I didn't know, I didn't realize there's more, you know what I'm saying? So for the people that's watching now and later, you know what I'm saying, jump into the perspectives and make sure that they see that there's more than just one story, you know what I mean? So I want to make that known, you know what I'm saying? And as far as any one world, is there any parts that I missed that, you know what I'm saying, that you want to talk about, that any one of y'all want to talk about, as far as the teamwork or the team or the, you know what I'm saying, anything, the process of how the contract go? I remember he talked about like all the rights are yours, you know what I'm saying, or nothing gets, stuff like that. Is there anything y'all want to, you know what I mean? Because there was an experience. I know there was an experience for y'all as well.
Honestly, nothing comes to mind that got skipped over for me.
Okay.
I feel like we've been pretty all-inclusive and covered a lot of ground.
Okay. Okay.
I just want to reiterate, we got stuff going on. This is the main thing for me, perspectives. Once again, just want to reiterate, all the proceeds go to charity. It all, it's the Dyspraxia Foundation, and big shout out to them, obviously, for anybody who watches this.
Yes.
Them and Paul got together, right, and they did their thing, and they set this up and made a lot of amazing things happen for a lot of authors, and the two of us are here right now for it. So I think that's pretty awesome. Dyspraxia, amazing. Paul's awesome. So yeah.
Okay.
That pretty much covered for me.
Just want to make sure I didn't miss nothing, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, like I tell y'all all the time, I respect you guys. So I just want to make sure that boom, the bases is touched, you know what I'm saying? Before we go on into further and get to laughing and cutting up, because we finna laugh and cut up a little bit. One last little serious little question I want to ask you, and this for the newcomers, and for the and for writers as well, any type of writer. What's some of the common traps for authors, for new authors, that comes to mind that y'all could think of? You know what I mean?
For me, or this is like a little bit myself, but also a thing I've seen some of my peers do with kind of newer writers, is to second guess, and Chris touched on this a bit. It's the thing where you second guess yourself about whether or not the part you just wrote is any good, and then you just lose. And I've seen so many people just, instead of moving on to the next thing, just focus on this one part and try to make it perfect, or convince themselves that it's not good enough, and let that kind of discourage them from continuing. And that to me is always just don't let yourself be convinced that what you're doing isn't good enough, because you're going to get better as time goes on. And even if like what you wrote doesn't work in the first draft, you can totally fix it in the second draft, is what I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Chris?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. Going back to what I said earlier, for the newcomers, write what you want to read, write what you want to consume. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else out there, I promise, feels the same way. You know, there's someone out there, and maybe a ton of people, you know, but write what you want to consume. You write it, you put it down, and then just be diligent with it. Like Tim said, you got to move on. Sometimes you got to move on. You got to do other stuff. You got to do it, but just keep chugging along for the newcomers. You know, like I've been doing it for over 10 years, and I still feel like a newcomer because I barely have anything published, right? But sometimes you can't put a time frame on it either. That's another big thing. Like, I know you want all the new writers out there. You were like me when I was 22 and 23 starting my book again, and I'm going to be published in a year, and by 28 I'm going to have my whole collection out there. And that'd be amazing if it happens, and I hope it happens to you. I really do. But be prepared, you know, just keep chugging along, write what you want, and, you know, as long as you don't stop, you know, you don't quit. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't, you know, even if you haven't written for, you know, months or whatever, you still haven't quit. Just don't stop. Sometimes slow progress is the best progress, and eventually something will happen if you keep doing it. That's all I can say. You just gotta keep going.
And I want to let y'all know that I got two friends in the chat right now, two brothers in the chat right now. We part of a squad called the Comic Dudes. And these two brothers, they have mentioned to me before numerous times that they are writing. They writing their own, they writing their own stuff. And I know something that one of y'all saying is catching their ear. So, you know what I'm saying? So just one last time for them early writers, man, let them know, don't quit and to keep on writing. You know what I'm saying? And don't let that go ahead, Mr. Chris and Mr. Tim, get them. Get them.
I was just reiterating, man, don't quit. Dude, keep going. Keep going. Because I've been sitting on so many projects, and I've been doing it for a long time, and things are finally happening. And yeah, it might not happen when you want them, and everybody wants them right away, but that's just not how shit works. I'm sorry. Sometimes, and if it does, amazing. And I hope it does for you. But the problem, or not the problem, but the point is to keep going, because it will happen. It will happen if you just keep going. Writing is not, it's talent, I guess, but it's more just consistency and persistence. Persistence. If you want it to happen, it will. Be persistent. That's all. You know, that's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And with what Chris is saying, don't second guess whether or not you think your idea is good enough or not. Just get it out there and keep going.
Yep.
And make, as long as it's something that you want to see in reality, that's always.
Yes. I'm saying? So now, we done talked about a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? So it's time to get into this check 1, 2 bonus rapid round, you know what I mean? We're gonna have 2 rounds. First round, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give y'all both. I'm gonna say 2 words, and each one of y'all pick which one you like. If it be the same, it is. If it don't, it don't. And in the second round, I'm gonna give each one of y'all 1 word, and you just give me how you feel about that word. You know what I'm saying? However it is, maybe it might be a feeling or a statement or whatever, but you give it to me. So here we go with the check 1, 2 bonus round. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay. God, I love DC too. I love DC, but Marvel. Shit.
Okay.
This is already great.
This remember the question. Remember the one I told y'all. So I'm gonna get y'all at the end. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Yeah, dogs.
Oh, okay. So he went with dogs. Okay. I thought you were gonna go with cats. You got me on that one. Okay. Writing or reading?
Writing.
Oh, I'm really torn. Oh. Writing? I don't know.
Two for
Question
writing?
mark?
Oh, okay.
Writing? Question
Two
mark?
for writing? Oh, okay. Okay, this one right here should be easy. Cartoons or comic books?
Ooh, comic book.
Comic books. What about you, Mr. Tim?
Comic books.
Comics? Okay. Comics. All right. Um, pencil or pen?
Pen.
Pencil. You said pen, pencil, pen. Okay, so we got a 1 and 1 right there. I like that. Outside or inside?
Inside.
Okay. Okay. Man, you got me right there. What about you, Mr. Tim?
No,
I was also going to say inside. Real
Oh, okay. You
told you
got me
I got this weird dichotomy, man, where I like them both, but man, if you're telling me my perfect day, I'm chilling, playing video games, drinking some whiskey on my couch.
you got all these outside pictures though. I'm like, man, I could have swore you was gonna say outside, but you got okay. I understand. Okay. Night or day?
Night.
Also, oh.
Okay. All right. Um, make sure I may say this right. Audiobook or printed?
What's that?
Like audiobook or printed? You know, just printed, like writing, like a book. Will you ever do audio or
Printed.
printed?
Yeah, I'll go with printed too.
I like audiobooks. They're convenient, man. They are, but
Okay.
if I had a chance.
Yeah, I once fell asleep listening to an audiobook and I never found my place in that book again. And it happened when you're
Yeah, and people in the chat, y'all can play along if y'all want to, because the answers is great to see. Okay, here go a cool one. Newspaper or magazine?
Oh man, old school. Magazine, I guess.
Magazine? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go with newspaper.
Yeah.
Okay. Arcade or console?
Ooh.
Oh, dude, I miss arcades. Like
I miss arcades too.
I miss arcades.
Man.
Have you ever gone to a barcade? Those are so fun. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna say arcade because I miss it so much. I love arcade. I'm gonna say it because I miss it so much.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. And the last one in this round, short stories or novels?
Novels.
Novels. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That was round one. I check 1, 2. Now we into round 2. So round 2, I'm gonna say one word or one little phrase, and you tell me how you feel about it. However you feel about it. Okay. Y'all take turns. Here we go. First, we're gonna start with any one word.
Awesome.
So amazing. 2 words.
Okay. I might as well go ahead and say ASAP Minis.
I'm excited.
Fantastic.
Okay. Being an author.
Fun.
Yep. Fun. Absolutely fun. I was going to say grueling, but I want to give people hope out there. It's not grueling. It's always fun. It's fun.
Okay. Now this one right here gonna come out of nowhere. But when I was doing my research, for some reason, this word kept on coming up. Pseudonym.
My double life.
Yeah. Don't care for it.
Okay. Good. Let's go. Okay. Your imagination.
Scary.
Meaning your imagination, like his and he, like yours.
It's scary.
Insane.
Okay. Perspectives.
Beautiful.
Diverse.
Okay. Being a writer.
Oh,
Confusing.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Incredible? Incredible? Question mark? I'm going to go with
Okay.
confusing. I'm going to put a question mark in that one. Incredible?
Uh, being a reader.
Fun?
Yeah. Consuming. It's good.
Okay. Okay.
Consumption.
Books.
Necessary.
Need more of them in my life. That's what comes to mind for me.
Okay.
Yep.
Your characters.
Weirdos.
Morally ambiguous.
Okay. 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 ASAP Comics UK.
No words.
Yeah. Well, ooh, gorgeous. Absolutely awesome.
Ooh, gorgeous is a good one.
Yeah, I'll take gorgeous.
Comic Crusaders.
Oh. Again, fun comes to mind.
Yeah, double thumbs up.
And I want to alert y'all. Six Element Comics. He's a Comic Crusader. He's in the Comic Crusader team. He's one of they. So y'all will probably be seeing his name a lot more. Coming up soon.
Hell yeah! What up, Six Elements?
Yes.
Hey, buddy.
Okay. We got a few more. Here we go. Your book.
Big.
Okay.
It's big.
In the future? Okay, that's not one word. That's
Futuristic?
Okay. Well, okay. Check this out, Mr. Tim. Make it easier for you on this side of that question. Your scripts.
Whimsical.
Whimsical. I like that.
Ooh, that's a good one. Shit. Got me that day. Shit. Novelist.
A dream.
Okay. Surprises never end.
Great story.
Aw, shucks.
I did love it.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
The word that came to mind was rough.
And you know where we're going. Murmuring John and the recording of Alexander A. Williams.
Chilling.
Thanks. That's what I was going for.
But no, that last line of that story. Whew.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. For me, emotional. A lot came out there. So thank you, Tim. I appreciate that.
Boom. That's what's up, man. Hey, and that right there was cookz24podcast. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Bonus round where we just kick it, have a little fun. No serious. We just talk. Y'all ask y'all some stuff and y'all tell us honestly how y'all feel. I have fun getting to know y'all and knowing what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I wrote some stuff down, you know what I'm saying? And I want y'all to correct me anywhere if I mess up. Proceeds from all of the book in the prospectus and stuff, proceeds and donated to Dyslexia Foundation, UK. You know what I'm saying? You can find Perspectives on Amazon, Kindle edition, and the paperback came out in August, so the paperback out now, if I ain't mistaken. Paperback came out August 28th, so it should be out now. You know what I'm saying? If you got one laying around, go on, grab it and show it if you want to. Chris.
Yeah, Mr. Chris. Click on this white.
Okay.
It got dark here. Here's Perspectives. Boom, right there. Once again, cover art by Kelsey Connor. She did this for free. All editing done by Jess Mondi. She did that, all the editing for free, and she was amazing to work with. Perspectives, that back right there. Boom. All the authors. What you're going to get. Seriously, get a copy of this. It's amazing. And you can go and tell those Tinder dates that you donated to somebody, and that week if you go buy this, say, I donate to charities.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Seriously, go buy this because it's amazing and you're going to donate to a great cause.
And shouts out to, and may y'all help me out now if I mess up, Mitch Larkins, Caleb L. Taylor, Martin Fresnel, Ari Misery, Bracy, Michael P. Nadal, L.A. Cunningham, Fraser Armitage, Paul D. Nolan. Oh, did I say that right? Nolan? Did I say that right?
No, Nolan.
Nolan. Okay, Nolan. Yeah. C. Van Dyke, D.W. Howard, Steve Sellers, Louis M. Cruz, and Michael Richards. Did I say that right? Michael Richards?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Tim Davis and Mr. Christian Prosper. I didn't say it right.
Prospery. It's all right. It's Prospery.
I hate to mess with brother's name, man. You can't mess with brother's name. You know what I mean? And excuse me. And one thing that ASAP told me when we was talking, that perspectives, it gives y'all a chance. All the authors, it give all y'all a chance to let people know what's in y'all head, what's in your imagination, your words, your perspective, like he said, and the more and more, and bringing it to life, which is the most important thing. And this is something that you guys have done, you know what I'm saying? And like, I know I respect y'all guys, and I don't want the communication between us to break. Of course, we all got our own lives and do what we do, but I want to stay talking with y'all. I want y'all to stay sharing and tagging me and stuff so I can share it to people, because I do have friends that write, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I do jot down, but now with y'all, like with the stuff that I learned from y'all, now I might start writing a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? Now I might make some time to take a deep breath and say, okay, turn the fan on level 2, turn everything off, raise the window up a little bit, and just think, just think, you know what I'm saying? And I really do appreciate you guys for that. And is there anything that y'all would like to, is it what's coming up? Like, is there any new stuff that's coming? Any new chapters that y'all working on? New books, new scripts, new anything? Is there anything that y'all would like to let the people know, let me know that might be going on that we should keep an eye on?
Just keep an eye on Endless Mile Studios, because there's some fun things coming down the line from them in LA.
Okay. And Mr. Chris?
Keep an eye out. Once again, go get this out here. But if you liked my story, I'm planning a collection, and talk to Paul a little, PA Hayden, about that, ASAP Comics. If you liked what I wrote, I'm going to do a collection of a bunch of short horror stories just like it, to build this little fun, existentially terrifying universe that you might see out of ASAP in the semi-near future. It's a little bit of ways, but keep an eye out for that if you liked what I wrote. Mm-hmm. After that, go pick yourself up a copy.
Okay, cool. And as y'all can see down here in this pinned comment, 6 Element, he said he started it 3 years ago and he haven't written in 1 year. What would y'all answer be to that?
Just pick it up again, man.
Yeah.
Open that.
You heard him.
Seriously, if you feel, hey man, you're not a writer. That's dumb. If you don't listen to people. Oh, you haven't written in a year, so what? You started writing. You're gonna write again. You pick it up when you're mentally ready. You know what I mean? And you get to that headspace. Just write. Just get down.
Honestly, that thing where sometimes just starting again is much harder than actually doing it. So make that
true.
Make that first step, and the others will follow.
Yep.
Saying so.
That's all you gotta do.
Y'all heard.
Make those dreams happen, man. Make those dreams happen. Just keep
you gotta make them happen. You gotta make them happen, man. You know what I mean? Once again, man, Mr. Christian, Mr. Tim, I want to thank you, gentlemen, once again for letting us into y'all live a little bit. I hope that, some of the stuff I asked wasn't, didn't sound too crazy or sound too, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, I had plenty now. You know what I'm saying? I had plenty. It's just the way y'all was answering stuff. It was like y'all was just bow. So I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Damn, wow. So y'all, you know what I mean? I guess we got to know some of your hobbies, some of the things y'all like to do, and also y'all got a lot of positive stuff that y'all push. Plus, y'all too stay busy. I can tell, So when you get your chance to chill, I don't blame y'all brothers. Chill. I love to. Hey, do it. I know I am straight up. You know what I'm saying? And now, this last question is for me before we break out. Somebody who want to be their own boss. You know what I'm saying? What's some advice that you could give to me as far as my journey and the further I move on, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's something that y'all could lay down for me that I could keep with me at all times?
Oh man, I know this is a little nihilistic in an approach, because you have to balance this line, but not a lot matters, right? Like your job that you're doing, like I work for the state and it's cool and all, you got to do what you love. Like, of course things matter, obviously, but like in the grand scope of things, doing what you love is really going to be what you reflect on after, I think, we all run through our existence, right, in this life. We're going to look back and go, what did I do? And so, yeah, you may not be in the spot or like you worry about financial stuff, but guess what? Sometimes that doesn't matter. Just do what you love. Do what you love. And if that's being your own boss and pushing those things to do what you love, do it, because at the end of it all, I don't think a lot of things are going to matter to us, right? We're going to look back on all the things that we didn't do.
Yes, sir.
So just do it.
Thank you.
Say about being your own boss is you got to remember, no one is going to give you permission to be your own boss but you. So always you got to take the lead on that. You got to be the one who steps into it.
Okay. Hey, man, I thank y'all for that. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason I asked is because, I mean, you guys have created stuff and you watching it as it go on and you creating something behind it, whether it's a chapter 2 or a new story, but you seeing your work come to life. So, and, lots of people give me good compliments, but I am my own worst critic. So I just want to thank y'all for that message right there, man. And also, I want to ask you for a little bit of help on one thing. I have a friend named British Verse Sterling. He's doing a peace walk across America. He's already walked from Pensacola, Florida, all the way to Oklahoma. And now he's going from Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Cali, Oregon, and his stop is Vancouver. And he's doing it for a peace walk. He ain't asking for donations or nothing. Anything he asks for will be like bottled water. Only thing I'm asking for is the people to help share the message, because like Montana, he ain't gonna see that. They ain't gonna see that. You know what I'm saying? And he heading towards Cali. So I want people to know that he's coming and just see that, see what he has to offer. Like, because he's walked a long way. I followed him since he started. So and I just want to just throw that at y'all, let y'all know. And plus, it's something interesting that, because he got a story of his own, and maybe sometime soon within the next month, I can get one of you guys to like maybe ask him some questions about what he got going on.
Yeah. What's his name? Let me write it down so I can start sharing his stuff.
It's British Verse Sterling.
Peace walk. All right, man.
Yes. And I'll be sharing some stuff with y'all too. I talk with him kind of on the regular, and you know what I'm saying, just to give a recap of what he's doing. And I'm pretty sure that y'all will be interested in the story, being what y'all got creative minds anyway, if you know what I mean. So anyway, hey, I ain't gonna hold you up no longer. Perspectives, y'all get on Amazon, check it out. This is Mr. Tim, and this is Mr. Christian. You know what I'm saying? 2 authors. And now, is it 18 of y'all or 16 of y'all?
Shoot, let me look again. I can't remember.
Because remember, I took y'all 2 out, and then 16, so it's 8. I'm sorry. There I go
16.
again. Okay.
16. I just kidding. I totally forgot too. Man. Don't worry.
Perspectives. 16 authors. Check out the stories. Read. Reading is fundamental. Knowledge, get your power. They got check out the imaginations. There's some great stuff. You know what I'm saying? cookz24podcast. Shout out to Mr. Paul, ASAP Comics UK. Shout out to Comic Crusaders. Shout out to you two gentlemen as well. Much love to you and your families, the dogs, the cats, everybody. Much love to everybody. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
And I really hope that we can do this again as the time passes and y'all publish some more stuff, get in the front. Let's do this again and let's talk some more, man, because I enjoy everything you guys talk about. Straight up.
I love that, man. I love that. Thank you so much for having us on. Appreciate it. It was a ton of fun.
Thank you. What'd you say, Mr. Tim?
This was amazing. Thank you so much.
Hey, much love, man. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to let y'all go. We out. You know what I'm saying? This has been another cookz24 podcast talking with two authors. Two authors, one podcast. So y'all check it out. Please repost this. Y'all know what to do. Hey, right there. Put it close to the screen. Yeah, right there. All right. Now we finna go. Now we out. Peace. Much love, y'all.
Yeah, I love you, man. Thank you.
Peace out.
Thank you.
All right.